Konnichiwa, minasan, dear friends and listeners, and welcome to this very special celebration for the Samurai Way podcast. Today, we are celebrating 15,000 downloads on on
Come on, Lori. It's your podcast. You should know.
15,000 downloads, and I have the king next to me, so I'll be the queen and I'll continue. I'm your host, Lori Sagawa, and it is a special honor. I never thought when we started this that we would be celebrating 15,000 downloads, but we're just beginning and we're gaining traction. It's a moment of celebration, courage, and curiosity and connection. And I'm deeply grateful for all of you that have come with us along this journey. So we'll start with the next slide. And we'll start with chronologically who came on the podcast first. We had Sam Ushio, and Sam spoke about Ikigai, and his way is more the Japanese way, and it was very popular, and it was an honor to have Sam with us and share with us about the Japanese way of Ikigai. And I also want to mention that he is my mentor for learning how to share the Ikigai way from the Japanese point of view. It is not the Venn diagram, it's different. So you'll have to listen to that podcast if you haven't heard it already. And our next guest is Tara LaFawn Gooch. And Tara is a coach, and she's a speaker, TEDx speaker. She's a podcaster and talks about confidence and has so many irons in the fire, but she is helping me boost this podcast. So I'm very grateful to Tara. And then we have John Suzuki, who wrote a book, and his book took him a long time to write, but it was about World War II veteran. And he honored this man, even though he never met him. He spoke to his daughters and wife about his journey. So we had John Suzuki with us. That was great. And this was back in March. And then I met John Jaworski, and he talked about, it was so interesting. I met him on LinkedIn, and he said that the most memorable times in his life were in Japan, where he was invited by the Japanese company. And every day that they would come together, they would have everything lined up and they would serve the food, and they had the most gracious hospitalities. And he said, in his words, they had funny little sandwiches for lunch, but we had amazing dinners and had a great time. He says, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about the Japanese and the way that they treated their employees and they treated their guests. And next we have Eileen Yamada Lamphere, and Eileen is the president of the Puyallup Valley JACL, and I belong to that group. And she shared about the Remembrance Gallery. Now, when the Japanese were incarcerated during World War II, they went to a temporary camp, and then they went to the permanent camp. So what they did, this is the first of its kind of all 10 camps, that they have a gallery or a remembrance memorial for those people there. There was probably about 8 to 10,000 there, and it was pretty desolate, and it was actually at the Washington State Fairgrounds. And next we have Chris Hopkins, who's a prolific artist. It was a joy I knew him, but I never was able to speak with him. He has quite a career. And he does everything from just everything still lives, but he also does a lot of the Japanese American experience, because his wife is like me. She's third generation Japanese American. So that's Chris. And Bob Lowe is an amazing marketer and entrepreneur and lives in Malaysia. And I've talked to him, and I have been mentored by him somewhat, but he's amazing and has quite a following, especially in Asia. And he has a podcast now, really to elevate the Asian population, which I think is great, being Asian myself. And next we have to him is Patrick Dean, and Patrick Dean is a coach, and I met Patrick through the Clemmer training. That's down in California. And he's the one that brought the red-black game to the Clemmer training. So if you've ever done a Clemmer associate training, Patrick is the one that introduced it there. So he still does samurai coaching, mostly for men. And he's been a great guest, and he's contributed occasionally to our samurai community. And next we have Jolene Jang, and Jolene is Japanese, Chinese, and Swedish. And she talks a lot about what is happening with the Asian population today, because she said almost every day, which is very sad, there is some type of hate crime in the United States against Asian, especially after COVID. It rose again. World War II was pretty high, but really has not gone away. So we have the next slide. And Eric Lofholm is a wonderful teacher, and he's quite an entrepreneur, teaches about selling, and he is not here. Unfortunately, he's not here with us, but we do have a great guest with us, and we'll be talking with him later. But Eric talked about Kaizen, and Kaizen is constant improvement, and that's what he always tries to do, improves on his selling game. And next we have Eric Louviere, and Eric is also an entrepreneur, and he's done, like Eric, millions of dollars of business, and he loves working with entrepreneurs. Next we have Sanaya Ishida, and Sanaya just celebrated her 12th book in 10 years to the public, and most of them are ones that she has illustrated, and she is it's all mostly about Japanese, like the ninja and the samurai, and she does the drawings also. So it was really a treat to have her, and she just is a very creative person. And next we have Kelly Goto. Kelly is an interesting person too. Her father, Sam Goto, wrote for 10 years and actually did cartoons in a newspaper. And so she wrote a book called The Seattle Samurai, and that was to honor his legacy. And we were able to film it just around Father's Day. So that was really special. And he was really a wonderful artist and not really very well celebrated, but now she's preserving his legacy. And next to Kelly is Dr. Moyne, Dr. Donald Moyne, and he's a psychologist as well as a coach, and he's amazing. He has such an amazing mind, and he's been very excited in helping me promote this event. And he actually wrote on LinkedIn and shared about the event and invited people to come. So maybe if you're going to see this later, and if you did because of him, that would be quite great. And I didn't mention how many downloads, but I'll start doing it now. Kelly Goto has 977 downloads. Dr. Moyne has 1,055. This is just since June. And then our next one, Ido Kalev, is a former IDF soldier, and he works with military strategy, that type of thing. And he has 911 downloads, and that's since July. So that's just been a little over a month. And our next slide is, there he is, the king, Frank King. Frank King is, we're going to give him some time to talk because he's funnier. He's just so funny. But anyway, Frank is, yes, Frank has the world's record of TEDx talks. And what he talks about is adding humor, but he also talks about mental health and suicide prevention. So we're going to hear from him in just a moment. And Frank, and this has only been a month, about a month, has 890 downloads, which I think is amazing. So we'll give it up for the king.
Yes.
Yeah. And Sensei Nancy Mueller has 682 downloads, and this is since the end of July. And she talks about the Power Dojo and how she's used the dojo to help heal herself of childhood trauma. And we have Sharka Rish, and Sharka is since 7/23 has 521 downloads. So that's amazing. That's not even a month. And I met her on LinkedIn, and she's a wonderful connector and has connected me to a few people. And we also love Japan. We were in Japan at the same time, but I only had a few days. We couldn't meet, but we were able to connect after she came back. She was in Japan for 7 weeks. I was only there for 2, but she loves Japan, and so we have so much in common when we talk. We talk about Japan. That's about all we talk about, and how much we love it. We love the food, the culture, and it's just a wonderful place to be. And if you haven't been to Japan, I highly recommend you get there as soon as possible, because things are changing in Japan about the some of the privileges that the foreigners have had. They're not going to be so We're not going to be so privileged, and the prices of some of the admissions are going to go up, but it's still a great place to be, safe, clean. It's just wonderful, and the food is just out of this world. So you can see we've had amazing guests, and that we're just getting started. Oh, and Terry came, and so we're going to let her introduce herself in just a moment. Great. So Tara's here, and now we have John Golden, and John was my last guest that we had, and I just met him actually through his agent, and she emailed me and wanted to know if I thought he would be a great guest. Yes, he would. He would be a great guest. And he talks about the samurai principles and how those meld with the sales and the people being decent human beings. And that's really what I love talking about, is how the Kodo Bushido can really elevate a person. And the last one, David Breyer, we will have him on next week. So we might include him in the next time we do a celebration. But those are the shout outs. And without the people, and sometimes I filled in when there wasn't a guest, or one time we had a guest and his wife was in an accident, and I talked about visiting Japan. And so that's been really fun. But it's different when I'm the podcast host and I'm talking, and I'm also the guest. So but it was fun. I love talking about Japan. So you'll get to hear David Breyer next week. He's has an amazing story. I won't spoil it for you, but we're going to start. Annelle is going to start posting teasers, and we had a great time. And we just never met until the time of the podcast. But such a kindred spirit. I love talking to him. And so I think that's about it.
Identify a value.
Oh, hi. Oh, are you going to show Sam's? I think she is.
All of them.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. How much is it of each one?
Just short clips on each one of the guests.
Oh, I didn't have to talk, did I? So you will hear it from the person himself. So we'll start that, and then we'll come back to Frank and Tara.
Okay.
Identify a value that's important to you, and let that fuel your journey. It doesn't have to be something that is exhaustive or heavily over engineered. I think everyone can think of a person, like you just had referenced a couple people in your life that we admire, oftentimes represent a value that we hold dear. And so I would encourage everyone just to think of a person in their life that they admire and that they respect and had a positive impact on them.
Stepping into the best version of yourself based on your unique purpose and owning that, but with authenticity. It's about rising up and then taking your hand and lifting up the person behind you.
You guys, don't be a victim. Don't be a victim. Okay. And when you find yourself blaming somebody else or blaming something or somebody for whatever your circumstances are, I don't care what it is and how bad it is. It can't get worse than what these guys went through in most cases, right? Just know that when you're blaming others, you're making yourself a victim.
I think anyone who hasn't been to Japan should either explore the history and aspect of all aspects of Japanese culture. Again, it's the people, it's the culture, it's the the grace.
That's why I've become like you called it, a community collector of stories, is because by learning, talking with other community members, hearing about their family stories, I can kind of relate to that and imagine what maybe my mom and dad went through, grandma and grandpa went through, and there are some commonalities regardless of where you happen to be. So
What I would say, like, if you want to get started, you want to start anything, just do it and instead of finding, like, hey, like, when before we started, like, when I first started, I don't even have this mic, I had like headphones, and I had like not so good camera, and I didn't know how to prepare the questions for the guest. I didn't schedule the time. I didn't even send questions to the guest. But as I go along, I get better.
Realize, and I want people to realize, is there so much to learn, and there's so much more power to bring out in yourself. And I'm not saying this like some positive thinking guru or anything like that. What I'm saying is, when you have to reach down and bring up something within yourself, that discipline or that courage or that honor or that passion or energy, it's always there, and you can bring it up, but you want to start eliminating stuff that kind of sucks your energy away in other ways.
Big dreams. I'll tell you what, Lori, to be able to walk freely by myself and feel safe. I'm an ambitious person, but I won't share all the negativity that I digest daily, but I do talk about it on my podcast once in a while, because it's important to understand all the hate that's out there and what you can do.
Yeah, I was first introduced to that concept back when I worked for Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins talks about Kaizen, and then he also has an acronym CANI, C-A-N-I, which is basically Kaizen, constant, never-ending improvement. So when I worked for Tony, that really got inside of me to live my life in that way. And it got so inside of me in how I think that one of my most recent books that I wrote is called Continuous Sales Improvement. And so I believe in that principle. I live that principle, and I teach that principle. And I just think it's such a profound idea.
The best definition I ever learned about success and being successful and achieving it goes like this: success is doing what you said you would do long after the mood in which you said it has left you.
I wanted to want my life. I feel like we are somehow conditioned to think there's something better out there all the time. Like, if we do this, if we do X, and then it'll be Y and Z. Like, we'll get happiness, or we'll get whatever, all these things. And I wanted to just truly want my life.
Personal focus is on accessibility and working with different, I guess, technical platforms, so it's a digital agency, but we're working on making digital experiences accessible by anyone, regardless of age or ability. So that is something really important to me and what I continue to strive for in my company.
We will take a look at that I love from the Code of Bushido is wisdom. Wisdom. Wow. Honoring wisdom, seeking wisdom in your life, working hard to develop wisdom. None of us were born with wisdom. We have to work hard to acquire it. It takes years. And a distinction I'd like to share with you folks is that wisdom is more than knowledge. Some people might say, well, he's wise, she's wise, they know a lot of things. It's a whole lot more than knowledge. And you may not understand what I'm saying, so let me dive into that. But knowledge is part of it. And I want to give you a warning here, folks. If you ever find yourself saying, oh, I already know about that. I already know about Bushido. You you want to stop yourself in your tracks, because
Mm-hmm.
whenever you say, I know all about it, that is the moment you stop learning.
Learning.
What is the difference between a loser and a winner? They tried 8 times, but the winner tried the ninth. That's
That's
it.
right.
That's
That's
it.
right.
That's the difference.
You hear it all the time, but now hopefully people have heard this podcast. When people start talking about death or death and dying appears, or they start getting their affairs in order and they realize they're giving away prized possessions or whatever it is they heard me say, like, hold on. Or now they know what to say if somebody's depressed, or say if somebody is suicidal. You know, it just doesn't take a clinician to stop a suicide. Just somebody to step in, hear or see something that sends off a signal, their radar goes off, and think, whoa, stop. Here's another one. Well, they won't have to worry about me after this weekend. Okay. You mean you're going back to college? You're moving away? You got another job? What exactly? Because it sounds innocuous, but it could be very seriously. They're going to end their lives and they wouldn't have to worry about it anymore.
Well, I believe that Musashi taught something like that. It's best not to fight.
Yeah.
It's best not to draw the sword. And his goal was to be the best, what would you call it, duelist, to win the most battles in Japan. And I believe he does have the highest records, but sometimes he would just come in and try to fluster his opponent by showing up late or doing something like that. And he won 60 battles. That's quite amazing. And that's
Yeah,
what
well, because the best way to win a fight is not to be there.
And so one of the things that key points you wanted to talk about was compassion, empathy, listen actively, and build relationships on trust. So if you'd like to expound on that.
Yeah, this is really crucial. There are crucial values for me, and they're also crucial in the Japanese culture. And that's one of the points that I really love, the Japanese culture, the people there. And it's also, those are also my core values, how I work with clients and how I build a strong LinkedIn community, how I teach them to build a LinkedIn community, because the people are really in focus in our daily life, in our businesses, but also on LinkedIn. And if you take this approach, this mindset, if you put it in LinkedIn, in your activities, in your strategy, then you will get lasting results, so long-term success.
People sometimes, they're always like setting big goals, and that's fine. I mean, it's great to set big goals, but oftentimes they set really big goals and then don't really do anything because the goal is so big.
So daunting.
Yeah, it's so daunting. Instead of, as you say, like, set that big goal, but also say, like, what are the small steps I need to take towards that, and what are the little things that I can improve. It doesn't have to be, they always don't have to be grandiose things, because it's the accumulation or combination of all these things. They compound every time you focus on something that you can improve, something that you can make better or whatever, and you do it in Kaizen. You do it in bite-sized contained chunks.
There's something that I live by, and it has resulted in incredible growth on the part of the companies that I work with, is that different is better than better. Let that sink in for a second. That different is better than better. When a company or an individual, this applies to an individual, whether they are just representing themselves, or they maybe have a company or a service or a product. But if they're presenting something in the world that is to benefit others, well, everyone is often like 95% of the people that are showing up, or companies that are showing up, are saying we're better in some way. We're better than what is already there as an option.
Get the applause. So we are so blessed to have two of the guests that were on, and I'll give them each a time to share. And I would like to, well, Frank, you were here first, so If that would be okay, we'll have you share, and then next you can share, Tara. Thank you for coming.
Lori, I got nothing. This is something I rarely say. I'm speechless. No, I was delighted to be on there. I'm a big believer in, I coach speakers on keynoting. And a couple things. One, I believe you should turn your pain into passion, your passion into purpose, your purpose into profit as a keynote speaker. It's okay to get paid to share your story, because what you're doing is you're getting paid and you're making a difference. Every one of my clients wants to get paid speaking, but they all want to make a difference. And, in a variety of ways. They all have lived experience, something they've suffered through, messes and stresses, and then followed by successes, and they want to share that with the world. And I believe speaking is an intersection of experience, training, and passion. Passion, you see it, passion is at the center of it. By the way, there was a samurai, I heard somebody mention just a few moments ago that his goal was never to pull his sword. Was that the
Musashi?
Yeah, I've taken a
Not
number
to
of
fight.
martial not to fight. I've taken a number of martial arts classes, and I took Seibukan Shorin-ryu, which is Okinawan style. And my instructor was big on, the best fight is the one you don't have. So that became my philosophy. The best fight is the one you don't have. Do you want to see my favorite martial arts move in a bar if there's trouble? You ready? Buy you a beer? How's that for a move, huh?
That's
So,
good. Does anybody take
no.
you up on that?
Yeah, it's no. I try to stay. Yeah, the best fight you have is, you can avoid if you're wise and skillful, you can avoid generally. But I've actually never had a fight. Thank goodness. Yeah, part of my philosophy is anybody who says fair fight has never had one, because there's nothing fair about it. But anyway, I am blessed in that I knew from the time I was 9 years old I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. So my purpose, I realized, was to be on stage and make people laugh. And then somewhere along the way, I decided I wanted to make people laugh and make a difference. That became my purpose, is to use that humor to make people better in some way. And suicide prevention is a very difficult topic. And if you can lighten it up a bit with some, not jokes, but funny personal anecdotes, it goes down a lot easier. It has a greater impact. It's more memorable. And as you know, Lori, my goal is to save a life a day. And so I feel very blessed that because a lot of people have no idea what their purpose is. And I feel bad that they don't, maybe they have never asked themselves, am I the person I came here to be? Am I doing what I came here to do? And so I think everyone should ask themselves that in an effort to find that purpose that would get them out of bed every morning.
Could you share what you heard when you're about in the fourth grade? I think I thought that was quite profound.
What I heard in my head when I did my first comedy routine?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. It was April Fool's Day, by the way, very appropriate, in 1984. Yes. And I told my first joke in fourth grade, 9 years old. The kids laughed. Teacher was hysterical. So that's when I decided I was going to be a comic. I did 12th grade talent show. I did stand up. Nobody ever done stand up, and I won. And then after my mom made me go to college, and a good liberal arts education never hurt anybody. But I'm on stage at the Comedy Store in La Jolla. It's a branch of the world famous one up on Sunset. And I'm in the middle of my 5-minute routine. And in my head, I heard a voice very distinctly say, "You're home." And I've only had that experience 3 times in my life. I was taking a voiceover class in LA. And there was a student in the booth doing a McDonald's commercial, doing a read, they call it, reading a McDonald's commercial. And I'm sitting in the back listening. And he finished, and I thought to myself, dude, It's a McDonald's commercial. Put a smile in your voice. And no sooner had that thought occurred to me than the teacher said to him, "Dude, it's a McDonald's commercial. Put a smile in your voice." And I thought, "Oh Lord, I got this. This is where I belong." Because my teacher would tell you, my voiceover teacher, good set of pipes, voice will get you a job. A critical ear, like being able to hear or not hear a smile, will get you a career. So I knew. And then my first martial arts class, I knew no sooner than we had started that I thought this I'm right place, right time. So I've been very fortunate that I've had that experience 3 times.
Well, great. Well, thank you for sharing. It was a privilege to have you with us, and the king of TEDx.
Yeah, and I'm gonna fight Tara for that coin that you're giving away, by the way.
Yeah, you have a really good chance. So next, I would like to have Tara share with us.
Hey, how's it going, Lori?
It's going well. Thank you, Tara.
Good. I'm so proud of you. I just want to say that first off, like, wow, you started your podcast and it's become this international sensation. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks to your help too.
Well, it takes a village, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. But yeah, I would love to. Do you want me to just say a few words about my
Yes,
experience,
please.
or
Yes,
okay?
that would be great.
Sure. So, well, I love, working with you and learning from you. I feel like, you know, we've talked about this as well, Lori, that, purpose is something that I think so many people are searching for. So many people are yearning for. They know in their heart, in their soul, that they have something calling them, but they don't have a guide. They're not sure. And what I like about your show, teaching the Japanese principles, is that you help people guide them to their purpose in an authentic way that's very approachable. And I just really admire that. So I will say that first. And I honestly think everybody should listen to your show, regardless if they're searching for a purpose or not, because your show brings that ancient wisdom with modern business strategy and culture that really bridges a gap that I feel like is much needed in this world today. So I just wanted to say that. Kudos to you, Lori.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for your help. And, it's been a pleasure. I'm thrilled every time I open up Libsyn and I see it, the numbers just keep going up. I was thinking, oh, well, we'll do 35. No, see, we're at 15. Oh, we'll do 25 and go, no, that's too soon because we're over 19,000 now. So maybe,
wow.
Maybe, I don't know, 30,000, maybe 50,000, but I love this. I love this as much as speaking.
Oh,
More. I really do.
yeah, I do too. I'm the same way. It's podcasting. I started my show, Grasp Confidence, 2 years ago, which you were a guest on my show. And you'll be a guest again. Don't worry about that for sure. I'll get you back on there. But the show, I started the podcast, as kind of a method to bring more attention to my book when that launched 2 years ago, which is crazy. It's been 2 years. And then I started it, and then I realized that this is a vehicle for such bigger things too. It's not just a podcast. It's really starting a movement from your podcast, kind of like, you write a book, but it's also starting a movement with your book. You can do the same thing with your podcast, and exactly what you said, you're speaking either way, and it's your stage and you own it. You own the platform, so you have control of it. And you can speak anytime and talk about whatever topics you want, and you're building a following at the same time. And it's such a great platform, again, to amplify purpose and realize that, it's not just a stage with a microphone or a podium, it's also a studio mic, right? And
Yes.
interviews and things like that. So I feel the same way. I actually like podcasting more than I do keynotes. I like keynotes, but podcasting is my favorite. I'm the same as you.
I feel more comfortable. That's how I
Yeah.
feel. Just more relaxed, and
Mm-hmm.
like I can bring things out in people and have
Mm-hmm.
people will benefit from what the guests are sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. And you get to interview really amazing guests too. It expands your network, your social circle. Um, you get to interview people that you may have never even thought to reach out to before, which is
Yeah.
cool. And then all of a sudden you have a big social circle and your network is larger and you hit it off with people, and it's an amazing like virtuous circle of something that combines speaking with passion and purpose, but also networking. It's such a unique medium as far as that goes, right?
Yes, it is. It really is. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did, because I don't know. I just hadn't been involved in too many podcasts or listened to that many, but I am loving it. I just think it's a great platform. So much
Yeah.
can be done, so much good, and that's what I love about it.
I love it. I love that you're doing it because you have a very unique podcast as well. There's not a lot of like Japanese samurai podcasts out there. So
Especially
what I
women.
like, right? Especially women. So what I like about your show is it's so memorable and so niched, and but you can also have a lot of different topics. You're not necessarily talking about every time Japanese wisdom, but it's a majority, and I think that's why people like it so much. Is again, it's such a great podcast. I really admire your work, Lori. I think you're doing a
Oh,
great
well,
job.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate all of the listeners that have listened and made this show come to life. And we are going to just continue going on this. And once a week is about my limit, I think, right now. But I love it. I'm being very consistent and very,
Yep.
very intentional about the people that are coming on the podcast, but they're coming
Yep.
from different angles, and there's so much that can be done with the Kodo Bushido, Ikigai. I've added Kintsugi and Kaizen and
Mm-hmm.
Gambadu. Not many people
Yeah.
talking about Gambadu, but there's just so much to cover, and it crosses everyone's lives, all these different principles.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you've added Kintsugi in there as well, because again, it goes right to the heart of what people are facing right now. This is really relevant conversation. Is people again, they feel broken, right? But the way Japanese culture has it, with kintsugi, is that we fill in the broken with gold. And that's amazing, right? And it helps you immediately see the gratitude in any kind of brokenness that you faced in your life, and gives you the tools to move on. And that's Bushido, is that never giving up. And it's just, again, this podcast is just so powerful, because if you listen once, you could get the tools to go through the rest of your day a changed person. And then if you listen and put it on a regular rotation, you can really change your life. I believe that. I believe in you, Lori. You're so
I
welcome.
wanted to know, Anel, if we have any comments or questions from the live stream, because I think there were more people than this that signed up. And we're gonna have
I think most of the comments, Lori, are just from Tara, and I also tagged the other guests as well.
Okay, and I did mention to Frank that we are going to have a drawing for the coin. It's going to be the competition is fierce.
Yes. I'm thinking I got
So we're gonna have 2 spins. How about that?
Hilarious.
Oh gosh.
Uh-oh.
Frank really wanted it. I'm
But
No,
that's
that's all right,
okay.
Tara.
You know, we're gonna have 2 because we have 2 special guests, so we can't just have 1. Can you do it again, Anel? Take Tara out of it.
No, what if I get it twice?
Well, it looks like Frank is going to get the second one. Woo!
Hey.
And then when you get the coin in the mail, just take a little picture with the coin because I've collected a few people that have gotten the coin, and sometimes I put them up on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Yeah, for sure.
So this has been just wonderful, and so happy and thankful for people that are going to be watching this later and people that are watching it now. Had you been in the live audience, you could have had a chance to win it, but I do that a lot. I have probably 100 of these that I'm going to be giving away and doing a drawing for. But if you had anything to say, final words, Frank?
Yes.
Okay.
You can make a difference. You can save a life from a suicide. And you can do it by doing something as simple as what we're doing right here, and that is having a conversation. Listening, caring, listening especially. People ask me, what do you say to somebody who's depressed? Don't say anything. Just listen.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And if you had any final words, Tara?
Yeah, top that, Tara. Ha!
Yeah, I know, right? No, you know, I do want to echo that because this happened recently to somebody I know. Their coworker committed suicide, and the thing of it is nobody knew, right? Nobody ever knows. And we think of suicide as a certain face, a certain disposition, but in reality it could be any of us or all of us. So I think you're really hit it on the head with that, Frank, is that we just need to listen more. And, take coworkers out to lunch and just let them talk. Open the door for someone, give someone a compliment. If somebody is wearing a shirt and you like the color, tell them. We can't be kind enough. There's no such thing as too much kindness in this world. So I think you're doing important work as well, Frank. I definitely support you. And uh, my message is always about gratitude, right? So, how can we find the gratitude in any scenario, any circumstance, and move forward with confidence? So, I'm very appreciative of both of you, and I'm honored to be a guest here and grateful as well for the time.
So I want to thank both of our guests. What a privilege that you were here and you're both touched my lives. I really appreciate both of you immensely. And that's going to be almost a wrap today because we're going on almost an hour. But thank you so much for being here. And if the Samurai Way podcast has touched your life, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. And who knows, you may hear somebody that needs help with suicide or needs confidence or needs to learn their purpose in life. Well, it's all here. And if you've listened to enough of them, you will find answers to possibly things that you're really searching for. So I wish you well. Thank you for coming. And I look forward to our next one. I don't think it's going to be 30,000 because that's just maybe, I don't know. It's not going to be 25. That's too soon. We're at 19,000 right now. So it could be 30. It could
50.
be 50. I don't know. 50.
50.
Okay.
Yeah, 50. Let's do 50.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll do that. Thank you so much. I want to say domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you very much. And thank you for allowing me to say little Japanese words here and there because they come out of my mouth and I'm learning more. And as I learn more and travel to Japan more, I speak more. So that is it. And thank you so much for being here. And we'll just call that a wrap. So thank you so much. Mata ne. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Lori. Bye, Tara.
Bye. Thanks, Frank. I will send this to you.